Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Rollergames, brought to us by Konami. The roller derby television show of the late 80s turned into a video game that doesn't necessarily have a whole lot to do with the actual show, other than featuring the teams and the characters and the like. The game is more of a beat-em-up on roller skates. I unfortunately am not familiar with the Rollergames television show. I did see Roller Jam a lot. I used to be a fan of that back in the late 90s and would watch that consistently on TNN. But Rollergames was a show I never had the opportunity to really see. So basically there's 6 teams, and 3 of the teams are bad and 3 are good. You get to play as the 3 good teams and basically go to the 3 bad teams' areas and take them down. You can play as the T-Birds, the Hot Flash, or the Rockers. I'll be playing mostly as the Hot Flash for this run, though I will play as the other 2 as well. The first of the teams we're taking on is Bad Attitude. As we begin, we're going to start by heading over to the right side and do some platforming over these jumps to get used to things. You have your health meter in the lower left, and you have what your special moves left are in the lower right. So you have 3 of them that you can do per level. A lot of enemies we're just going to roll on through, get it? But just kind of punch as we go. Eventually you'll come to these spots where you get stopped and you have to take them on. We're going to get up close to the door and just mash the attack button. You may, if you're too close, get into a grab, in which case it's fine, just hit that button and then throw them. It won't be enough to take them out though, so once they get back up, finish them off. But thankfully, the actual beat-em-up aspects of the game is pretty easy. A lot of the enemies you can just kind of mash that attack button and usually take them down pretty quick. Continue along our way here, punching as we go, hopefully taking out most of the enemies as we roller skate. Be careful working your way along here. This game is one of those ones that tests your reflexes and your platforming skills for sure. Next up we have some more enemies. I'm going to start with a drop kick and then go right into the punch combo that I've been doing. If I grab them and throw them, then finish them off. The Hot Flash character is the fastest of them. That's usually why I end up picking them. Once the door opens up, head on inside and go to the next area of the stage. From there, head on north. You can head along the right side here and avoid all of the grenades being thrown into the sidewalk. Here we gotta make a big leap, but be careful as you land and jump immediately. You gotta do several quick jumps in succession. Here we reach the end of the first stage. Take out the first sets of enemies here, just like we've been doing throughout the level. Once they're all taken care of, the door will open up and another enemy will show up. We're going to finish him off quickly using our special moves. And then we just need to finish off the actual boss, the team leader. Just let them run back and forth until they're tired, and once they're done running, finish them off with a combo or use your last special move to take them down. The text unfortunately scrolls really slow in the game as we make it to level 2, the Broken Expressway. This one's more of a scrolling style level as you're automatically moving. You'll have to jump over some obstacles and watch out for others. Still plenty of gaps that we're going to be working our way over. A little bit ways in, you'll be attacked by some enemies. You can actually punch them from behind using your elbow. If you're close to them and use your punch, you'll end up hitting them. For these motorcycle guys, to stay in the middle area and you should be able to avoid them. Right after that, we're going to do some more platforming. Follow the arrows wherever they're pointing. They'll lead you right to the ramp. Next up, you'll have fire coming out of the walls. Just kind of keep doing your jumps, and you should be able to avoid most of the fire. If you get hit, thankfully it doesn't do too much damage. After some barrels, we end up running into what is technically, I guess, the boss of the level, which is this giant helicopter, and it's going to drop missiles on top of us. We can't hurt the helicopter. All we have to do is dodge the missiles. After we dodge enough of them, the level will be complete and we'll be moving on to that next stage. There's a lot of missiles, though, you're going to have to dodge, so be very careful. I usually stay on the left side and just jump over the explosions as they happen. You may get hit, of course, a time or two, but hopefully it won't be enough to take you down, and you should have enough health in order to finish off the stage. The next level takes place inside of a junkyard, as you can see. We're going to immediately start moving around the sides, watching out for these fire-throwing guys, and then watch out for the oil coming out of these cans on the sides as we jump our way up the middle row. There's a couple of wrecking balls that you may have to deal with. Thankfully, you can jump over them pretty easily. Go to the top here, and you can avoid the next couple of enemies. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them here. It can be difficult to miss all of them. You do have a time limit in the game, but I usually don't find myself ever having to worry too much about it. Here we have some more beat 'em up action as we're going to take out this group of enemies. Just do what like we've been doing before. If you're on their same line of sight, they potentially will do a jump kick towards you, so if you're staring them down, you may want to move up or down just a little bit to avoid that potential kick from hitting you. Once the thing opens up, head on inside. Work your way along the top portion here so you can make it along the sewer platforms. You gotta very carefully make your way along here. Here we have some barrels coming down, watch out for those. And then jump over here for another one of those beat 'em up sections. Just get up near the door and you can just mash that button and hopefully take them all down. If you end up getting hit, try to move a little bit to hopefully get out of the way of their punches and go right back into your own punch combo. After that section, continue over to the right. Be very careful here with the slanted platform that you don't end up falling down into the water. Do it again right here, making a big leap if necessary to get across. Take your time, just jumping over the fires as you need to. Right up here, we're going to head inside and go to the next boss encounter. For the first part of the fight, we're going to take out the boss using 2 of our special moves, and then for the second part, the boss is going to come towards us. We're going to try to go for our move, but if we end up missing, just go for our combo. Try to stay right on top of him so his weapon, when he swings it, doesn't end up hitting you. If you do it correctly, you should be able to take him down pretty easily without him doing too much damage to you. Here we're going to change it up and pick the rockers since we only have a couple of more levels left. We have 3 more stages left to go. Go ahead and switch to the rockers here just to show them off. It's another one of those kind of auto-scrolling levels. As soon as we begin though, there's going to be some like dogs attacking us. Kind of funny that we're on like a highway and there's just dogs running everywhere, but be careful of them. Like we did before, follow any arrows that you end up seeing. It will guide you to the right direction. It's not one of those games that tries to trick you with the arrows, like pointing down, but then you really were supposed to go up. For the motorcycle guys, we're once again going to stay in the center area and do a jump near the end. That way we can hopefully jump over their grenades that they end up throwing out. Here you can go up or down. The bottom path is a little easier since there's no pits. But the upper path, you can just jump along the gaps. Then very carefully go down here and you have to get across these very small beams. Takes a little bit of practice, but you should be able to get this down pretty quickly. That's definitely one of the harder aspects of this stage for sure. Jump over these two sets of projectiles that come your way via these little robot guys. Then it's time for the boss encounter for this level, which is a giant truck that's spewing out barrels. We're going to stay at the bottom of the screen, jump over the first two barrels, and then quickly go forward so that we go underneath the third and thus fourth barrels that he throws out, and then it'll repeat the process. You may get hit by that third barrel, but just go for it still and watch out for the fourth one, then go back to begin that process over again. It takes several loops of these barrels before it ends up being over, but it's not too hard of an area to complete before we're moving on to the next stage. For level 5, I'm going to go ahead and pick the T-Birds and use them, so we've used all three of the teams. As we begin the level, we're going to work our way down here. I like the whole kind of color scheme and setup for the stage here in this park forest area. Just like before, we're going to take out these enemies in bunches if possible, doing those combos just straight up to them. If they end up hitting you, just move out of the way really quick and then go right back into your punch combo to hopefully hit them with your own. Work your way around here. You have to do a couple of jumps. Attack when you do your jumps, you hit that one enemy in the air. Thankfully, most of this area isn't too difficult to get through. But don't worry, we have much tougher areas coming up soon. Here we reach another one of those ends. Take out the enemies coming out of the cave. You can just bunch them up and do that combo like we've been and take them down pretty quick. Now, this is where things get tricky. You have to move your way along this cliff as it's falling apart. It always falls apart at the same spot, so you'll get used to it. But still, you have to go very slow with your jumps. Enough momentum that you make it over, but not too little that you end up falling right down into the pit itself with a small jump. That's one of the trickier areas of the entire game, so if you can get through that, you should be able to get through the rest of the game. While you're jumping here, you can attack in mid-air to hit the fish. Here we're going to use these rafts to move ourselves across the water. You may have to wait a moment or two in order to get to one, but be very careful when on it that you don't move too much that you end up falling off. Do the same thing here, wait for the raft to show up and then jump to it. Thankfully, even a little jump is enough, but you'll need some momentum in order to get down here to the other moving raft and then over. Another really tricky jump to do. It's now time for the boss, but before we face off against the boss itself, we have some regular enemies to deal with first. You can fling them into the water if you like. It's always satisfying in a beat-em-up game to throw enemies either in the cliffs or into water. For the boss itself, he's going to be on this jet ski. He's going to come across and then dive across. We're going to use our special move when he does in order to at least do a decent amount of damage. After you hit him with all 3 of your special moves, if you've used them all up, then go to your punching. You can attack him when he's in the air. Just get a little bit out of the way of him and hit him. He may throw some bombs at you, but thankfully you should be able to take him down pretty quick. It's now time for the final level of the game. We're going to go ahead and pick the Hot Flash once again. The first area in this level is a maze-like place. Start off by immediately turning around and working your way around the maze. Jump over all the sets of barrels that are going to be rolling your way through this. Head up here when you get the chance, and you'll come to another one of these little beat-em-up sections. Just make sure you watch out for that line of sight with the enemies so they don't do their flying kicks to you, and that you're able to then go into the combo yourself. You will have some rematches against some of the other enemies we dealt with in the game. We're just going to use our special move here to take them down. And the reason why is because when we change areas, we automatically gain our special moves back. We also gain all of our health back, so if we do lose some health during this section and such, we should be able to get it all back very, very shortly when we make it to that next screen. From here, head to the right using the conveyor belts. This is some tricky jumping you're going to have to do as the spikes are going to be death. You just have to keep jumping between them. There is several sets of these conveyor belts before you make it here for another beat-em-up section. Once you've taken down all the enemies, another one of the bosses that we dealt with earlier shows up, jumping all around. We're just going to do our kicks like we did before and take them down pretty easily. And then quickly, or carefully, jump over the sets of platforms over to the right side. Use a few more conveyor belts to make your way across, some of them pushing you very quickly, so you have to be very careful. Thankfully, there's another door that we're going to go through, and that replenishes our health, so if you've lost any, you should be good. Then you want to work your way up here, watching out for some barrels as you come down the other section, making a leap over the spikes. If at anything you want to get hit by the barrels, not the spikes, for sure. Be careful of the holes, and another jump over this gap. Work your way all between the spikes, and down again, and onto this platform. It's time for the final area of the game. We have a few platforming jumps that we have to make first, and then it's time for a beat-em-up section with the boss showing up afterwards. We're going to start off immediately going for our normal combos like we've been doing and take these guys down. Once you've dealt with all of them, the boss will emerge from the background and the true battle will begin. This boss is extremely tough. You cannot hit him with your normal punches. The only way and only sound strategy I really found is not only using my special moves, of course use those first, have all 3 of them hopefully, and mainly what you need to do is bait him and then jump kick him. So get him to go over your head with a big jump kick and then give him one of your own. If he just does a normal jump, you're not going to have enough time to get him. but when he does that whole kind of motion of doing the big jump kick forward, you have enough opportunity to deliver that hit. When you knock him down, or when you're about to hit him, you can sometimes get him right into an initial combo, but more than likely he's going to end up punching you, in which case if he does, run away and go back and just doing the looping of the drop kick until he's taken care of and you can enjoy the ending, the Roller Games. So there you have it, Roller Games for the NES. While it is a licensed game based on the television show, it's actually a pretty cool game overall. It has some difficulty, especially with the platforming in the later levels, which may end up putting off some people, but I think it's kind of a hidden gem that honestly I never really played a whole lot until I discovered it years after its release. So there you have it as we get to the presented by Konami screen and see our character right there. That's going to wrap up this episode of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.